What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm still here in England. I'm down on the south coast right now, just outside of Brighton, in a town called Worthing. We've been staying with my friend Purr, who we just recorded a podcast with last night. And before we leave town, because we're headed up to London, we fly home tomorrow, we are going to Chris's unit to take a look at his Subaru Brat and his Subaru SVX, which are both really cool cars. He's got a great YouTube channel called Build Create, and he's done some really cool bodywork on these cars. So do you drive the Brat and the SVX down here to get him in?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a little bit tight on this corner here, but and yeah, I did take some paint off the front of the SVX the other day because it's so long and I forgot how long it was, and so like I didn't realise it basically just kissed.
Oh, turn around the corner?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've got to kind of like Austin Powers it.
Yep.
Like round the corner.
Definitely smells like bodywork in here.
Sure does.
Sick.
Bodywork and misery.
It's so good. I love this car so much. Dang.
I didn't know you had that.
Yeah.
So obviously that's masked up at the moment because I've got the matching S14A side skirt. There's one there that
Yep.
I've
So for those who don't know, first of all, because we talk about this on the podcast, this front bumper on the SVX is an S14 bumper.
Yeah.
An S14A.
So the facelift.
Facelift S14 bumper. And he's done some pretty incredible body work. And when he started this car, you hadn't done any body work before.
No, nothing.
So he started on this car, and it just looks so good. Like you never would have thought it was off of something else. And if you haven't heard the podcast, it's right here that you added, right?
Yep.
To meet the headlights.
So from about here, that is the top of the OEM bumper, because obviously getting the right fitment between the bottom of the light and the bumper, it's pretty crucial. Otherwise, it just looks pretty janky. Like you just shoved the bumper on there that's not for the car.
Right, and so that wasn't supposed to even fit.
Exactly. So this all the way here. Well, actually, it blends out around here.
Yep.
But all this is OEM, and then it's blended into the bumper because it just went flat.
Wow. Yep.
In.
So cool.
Width wise, like I said, like on the podcast,
5 mil, right?
5 mil difference in width between the S14A and this.
2.5 mil either side.
Yeah. The only thing I had to do was extend the backs, obviously, to meet the arch.
Right. Exactly. Here.
By 50 mil each side, and then obviously cut out all this in here because this was like several inches deep.
Yep.
It changes the look of the car completely. I mean, I've had people, in the States asking for this bumper to make copies.
Reproduce
of it.
it.
Yeah, same with the over fenders because they're just non-existent. So the arches, they're pulled obviously and hammer and dollied. So these are wafer thin.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely wafer thin. You've got the natural bulge of the front arches is pretty big. Obviously you've got the over fenders on the rear there, it's big. So if you look at it here, obviously it just sucks in to the middle of the car.
Yep.
So it's lacking quite a bit of surgery. But that's the matching Vertex style
Yeah. Yep.
side skirt. And you'll see how much it changes. The whole look of the car.
Oh, sick.
Because that just flows all the way down. It just works.
And the fact that it sits body at that point, body kit
it's
and
like,
bumper.
it has to be level ground.
Exactly.
Nothing else. Otherwise, just like all the hard work just crunches.
Yeah, exactly. What an amazing execution of totally changing the look of the car.
Yeah, like it's completely different. The shocks on these, they're BC coilovers for an 05 to 07 STI Impreza. But obviously I've, you get one stud in strut top, and then
And the other two don't line up.
you got to drill it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they've got OCD bags on them, because I think they're originally from bag riders.
Yep. And you've utilized the space in here like so well, because on camera you won't be able to really get the gist, but it's a couple feet, barely a foot, not workable space on the side there, which I'm sure you could, but back here opens up to like 1.5 sizes, and you've got quite well usage of your space. You can bench grind, you get a little drill press, stuff hung up on the wall, toolbox, workbench,
compressor,
Yep.
little welder. One of my favourite bits is the fuel filler, and I did have some help with this when I was working at the body shop. He taught me how to finish things off, but he helped me with that because it kind of blew my mind.
to like recess and
To get all the angles right. It absolutely blew my mind. Plus, I got to the point where I'd kind of had enough, and my brain was just overflowing.
Yep. I've always loved these cars.
Yeah, they're just so cool.
So what's this shifter right there on the center console? Is that your e-brake?
That's the handbrake, yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing that it looks like the shifter.
Yeah, but it's like a jet engine.
Yeah.
Kind of get an idea of how it sounds.
So, I didn't realize that these were 6 cylinders. The SVXs were 6 cylinders, and they're still a flat 6, right?
Yeah. So 3.3, flat 6, the biggest they made at the time. Dusty.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, really rammed in there. Nightmare for changing spark plugs.
Oh, I can only imagine.
What will eventually happen
Well, this shop is pretty amazing, man. Like the fact that it's low overhead, no lift, barely any space on one side of the car, and you've been working on re-engineering or reimagining body lines on these cars.
Yeah.
And you've got 4 feet to step back, not even.
Yeah.
To look at what you're doing.
That's it. But this is a big UK garage.
Yes, this is incredible for what we've seen. Steve has a 7,500 square foot hangar.
Yeah.
But he disassembles jet engines.
One extreme to the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm super lucky that my uncle was just like, yeah, it's yours, basically.
Wild.
So yeah, I own everything. I won't be able to do it without that.
Right.
Eventually, from that point onwards, they will get extended. So you're going to back a car in, put it on on some some dollies, and kind of shift it over, and you'll be able to get probably 2 or 3 cars.
You're gonna widen this part too.
Exactly, 2 or 3 cars here, so that'll be empty.
Nice.
So yeah, that could be kind of like a dirty bay.
In 2.1 miles, turn left onto 824.
So we just left Chris Purr's shop, stayed with him on the South Coast for a few days, and had a great time. Him and his wife Haley are great. As I mentioned, did sit down with him to record a podcast, so really looking forward to that. Not sure if that episode will be out by the time you guys see this, but I haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to editing it. Very similar to me and the life experiences. We've both been musicians, but as you'll hear on the podcast, he was in a band that was signed to Epitaph Records, toured quite a lot, played with Thursday. Sam, the singer from Architects, used to play drums in Chris's band. pretty cool. Like, lived a pretty cool life. The work he does in that little shop on the SVX and the Brat is pretty incredible. All the body shop work, learning how to build over fenders and work with fiberglass. There's a link to his YouTube channel in the video's description below. He's got a great channel where he does most of that work right there in that little unit. So it's really cool to kind of watch his YouTube videos, but then see how small the shop really is in person. So now we're headed up close to London, to Kingston, to stay with my other friend Chris, who is a longtime friend of mine, who's a BMX friend and music friend. He's a photographer. Him and his wife moved to London back a couple years ago, and we're gonna stay with them for the last day and a half of our stay here. And what I didn't plan on this trip, well, I actually kind of planned about a week before I flew out here, is Chris is purchasing the Mark III. I decided not to ship it back to America. Shipping prices are pretty expensive right now with the cost of fuel, and I thought, you know, although this is an incredible car to ship over and have some fun with, modify, and then sell, I'd really rather go through the effort of shipping a car that was never available in America in any capacity. And Chris was really interested in this car, and so we worked out a deal, and just the other day completed the deal logistically. And now that we're heading up to hang out with him, the car and the keys are gonna stay with him, and they're gonna give us a ride to Heathrow Airport tomorrow morning, and we fly home without the Mark III. It's been an awesome time with this car. We've really road tripped across all of England. Well, not all of England, but we've road tripped across a good portion of England in this car in good and English weather. And it's been awesome. And Chris is really excited to kind of dive into this car at some point in the future and do some mild things. And he's got a great canvas to start with. Rust-free, low mileage Golf. Really looking forward to see what he does with this. What do you think of your new Golf?
I love it. I'm hyped.
So the Mark III is at its new home. We're here in Kingston, just outside of London, with my good friend Chris Saunders. I've known Chris for
13
15 at least, probably years.
Yeah, something
BMX.
along
Lots of BMX experiences and memories together. And when I kind of put a feeler out that I was interested in selling the Mark III to basically keep from having to spend premium dollar to ship it back to the States, Chris said, I gotta have it. And so we worked out a deal. And now we're here. It's been a couple years since I've seen him. And yeah, he's got a Mark IV.
Gross.
So now he's like, yeah, kind of collecting the Mark III and Mark IVs. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. A short but sweet ownership of the Mark III Golf. Really kind of cool to have this car for about a week. Technically owned it for a couple of months, but to drive it around England for a week while we were here was a treat. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're about to head to Heathrow and fly home and dive right back into the Auto Union project, getting the lift installed, handful of other stuff. But I really appreciate you guys coming along. We will see you guys in the next episode.